I have with me Darian Gilliam, the operator of the YouTube channel Black Flags Matter, and a co-host of the NASCAR Weekly Podcast. Darian, thank you for joining me.
It's good to be on here, man. Appreciate it.
You're welcome. Now, how did you get into racing?
Well, really all goes back to when I was very little. My family's from Virginia. My mom, she grew up in Stanton, Virginia, so some family out there. And, obviously NASCAR is it's a lot bigger in the South than it is out here on the West Coast. So, my mom, she moved here because the stations are out here when I was about 3-4 years old. And when I was younger, she would just turn on the races, and I would just watch them with her. She was a fan, but she wasn't. I wouldn't call her a diehard fan, but she would watch occasionally. And the first ever race I watched, the Flag, the 2004 Daytona 500. That's when I was hooked on to NASCAR forever. I saw Michael Waltrip split, Dale Earnhardt Jr. winning the Daytona 500 for the first time, and I don't know, ever since then I've just been enamored with stock car racing and pretty much all forms of racing in general.
Okay. Yeah, my family, and particularly my grandfather and my father, were into racing. And they've been to the Indianapolis 500 every year since 1974, I believe. First time I went was in 2004, and I've been back every year since. Initially, I was into IndyCar only, but then started getting following other forms of racing.
Yeah, I was about to say. I was saying that too. I remember for a long time I would only watch NASCAR for a very long time, and I was just like, okay, well, really no other reason to watch any other motorsports, like what other motorsport is better than NASCAR? Then I started watching, Formula One, IndyCar, and rallycross racing. Those forms of motorsports, and really got me enamored with just motorsports in general, just motorsports as a whole. And I don't know, I'd have to say, IndyCar, they're doing a lot of great things with their sport right now, and as well as F1. And I know some people have said just motorsports, they've been losing ratings and that sort of thing. But with the recent changes they've made in F1 and IndyCar and stuff, trying to make it, trying to get it more into the mainstream, especially Formula One out here in the North American market. I feel like they have a bright future. As for NASCAR, I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, I certainly think, with Formula One in the United States, I think that something that could really help it if they had another race in the country, particularly somewhere on the East Coast or in the South, which I know that has been rumored. There's been the rumored race in Miami, which, as far as I know, it has been put on hold.
Yeah, it was more of a rumor there, but I feel like while that is a good idea, I feel like what would help it more is if you actually have an American driver in that sport, someone in the American market. I don't know if Haas F1 has anyone in the pipeline, but to get an American in Formula One would be a pretty big deal. I can't for the life of me remember who the last American to race in F1 was, or even if I ever saw one. I don't know, I've been watching motorsports since 2004, like I said, and I don't know if during that time period if we've ever had an American in F1 and stuff, but it's certainly been a while. I think that would be a big help right there.
Certainly it would. Yeah, the last American in Formula One would have been Scott Speed, 2006 and 2007.
Oh, that's right. But he didn't really score any points, and he didn't really compete for wins, correct?
No, I don't think to my knowledge, he never scored a point.
Okay, so yeah, that's what I'm saying. Not only does he have to be American, but he has to win a ton of races, that sort of thing, compete for championships. I don't know, with the way Haas has ran his F1 team, maybe that could be a possibility in the future. Not anytime soon, but maybe definitely 10 or 20 years down the road, we certainly have the potential to see that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, I know a while back in November, I was talking to Mario Andretti, and he was saying, and I thought this was a pretty good idea, that something that Formula One could do for each of their races is have the teams run a third car for a driver from the given country that they're in, or at least is successful in a major racing series that's based in that country.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, that's an interesting idea. I don't know. I feel like F1, they're sort of behind the eight ball, automatically in the United States, just because the races, they take place around the world, and then out here, the races usually don't start until midnight or 3 o'clock in the morning time, or 6 in the morning on the East Coast. So I feel like it's really hard to find, it's hard enough to find NASCAR out here sometimes on this side of the country. So F1 fans, it's a non-existent thing out here. I do run into a few NASCAR fans from time to time in Las Vegas, but F1, it's very rare.
Yeah, when I went to basically my entire schooling was in northern Indiana, and there were certainly a fair amount of NASCAR fans, but by the time I was in high school, wasn't something a lot of people really talked about. I mean, I remember there was one person when I was in high school, one other person who was an IndyCar fan, and there was maybe a couple people that I knew that were into Formula One.
Yeah, it's just motorsports. It's not a mainstream thing anymore. I remember in the late 90s, early 2000s, just when I was little, there was a ton of NASCAR fans. You couldn't go anywhere without seeing, some NASCAR merch, pretty much anywhere at any given time. I mean, it was even so big out here that, after they built the Las Vegas Motor Speedway, there was a whole NASCAR cafe, right on the strip, and that was pretty cool. And that lasted for about, just a decade before they closed it down there because, NASCAR had lost popularity, that sort of thing. Yeah, I when I was in high school too, I never ran into any motorsport fans or anything of that sort, so I never really talked about it. So when I started the YouTube channel, some of my friends, they were oh, you like racing? And I'm like, yeah, and then they're like, oh, well, why, you never really talked about it and stuff, growing up. And I was like, well, I mean, you never asked, and yeah, I know you're not a fan, so there's really no point. So for a while, I just watched the motorsports alone, pretty much by myself. Well, I wouldn't say fully alone. My family, they watch it from time to time too, but they're not diehard fans, I just explained myself. So that's pretty much the whole reason I started the YouTube channel. Really was to interact with at least one other fan from wherever. So that's the whole reason I started that, and just to voice my opinions on motorsports in general, mainly NASCAR, of course, to see what people think, and I'm having a blast with that.
All right. Now, what YouTube video of yours are you the most proud of?
I'd say the first ever one I made, the first ever upload on that channel, December 28, 2017, is Bubba Wallace and Tiger Woods in NASCAR. The reason I'm so happy, I'm the proudest of that still to this day, was because it was the first video I had ever made. I had decided that I wanted to bring the channel back around the fall of 2017 because I had a pretty good idea of what I wanted to do with it. Because a year prior, it was just a NASCAR gaming channel with only 46 or 50 subs, and got some really big support from the other NASCAR gaming YouTuber, JC1424. But then I just wasn't really satisfied with it. I felt like the content I was putting out there was half-assed, so I really wanted to improve on that. So I just deleted everything off of there and took a long break and just made sure I was just trying to make sure what content I wanted to upload from there. And then when I decided, I'll do NASCAR buffs or championship seasons, good seasons, bad seasons, that sort of thing, because I never really saw anyone else do that. Well, except from you, of course. But the style I wanted to do it as was, I'd talk about it. I would talk, about the driver, give a bit of a background over some background music, and then I would show the highlights, because like all I ever saw was just, they would just show the highlights, and that was it. It was really no backstory to it. And then I would give out their stats too. I'd never really seen anyone else incorporate stats like I have in my videos before. So I figured the first video, the first upload would be about Bubba Wallace, because he just announced he's going to go full-time in 2018 with Richard Petty Motorsports at the time. And I remember Christmas Day, I got a mic, and my brother helped me download a free version of Final Cut Pro, and my little brother also showed me how to make these videos. So he showed me how to record, how to download the clips from other YouTube channels, and also how to edit, those sort of things. So the first ever video took me because I had never done this before, so it took me 2.5 hours to make, because I had no clue what I was doing. And I remember watching it afterwards and thinking, that was the first time I ever felt satisfied. You probably feel the same way, after you make a video or upload a video, just the satisfaction of, getting that out there, just working hard, just putting yourself out there too. That was just, it was a pretty good feeling. So so the first ever upload is Bubba Wallace, the Tiger with the NASCAR. That's the one I'm most proud of.
Okay. Yeah, I remember I formed my channel back at I first started uploading videos February 2015. The first thing I made was a Daytona 500 entry list video, and then a starting lineup video about the same time. But I remember the first one of my one of my videos that was racing related, that had an actual narrative to it that got some attention, was when I made a video about Tony Stewart's fights, arguments, and temper. Yeah, before then, like I said, I did other non-racing videos, which did alright, but a lot of my racing videos just kind of hung in the lower thousands of views, or hundreds of views, pardon me.
Yeah, I guess for me, it's never really been about getting views and that sort of thing, or getting a lot of views. I just wanted people just to see what I had to say, and also just to see my videos and to hear what I had to say. And I don't know, my thinking was, when I first started Black Lives Matter, was worst case scenario, nobody watches, nobody knows I even exist. Nobody ever sees the videos, and then I can just delete them and, or just leave them up, or never upload again, that sort of thing. So I felt like I had nothing to lose there.
Yeah. Who do you think is the most overrated and underrated drivers in NASCAR?
In the Cup Series?
Yeah.
Ooh, okay. Most overrated. I remember I asked this on Twitter, and I got a lot of Kyle Larson's for it. A lot of Kyle Larson replies there. Some Eric Jones replies as well, and for sure Bubba Wallace. That's a hard one. I'd say, right now Kyle Larson, just because, when he first came into the Cup Series, a lot of people questioned the move from Chip Ganassi, because he had no, prior to 2014, he had only made minimal starts in the then Nationwide Series, and then he made some starts in the then called Camping World Truck Series, and even won a race at Rockingham. I still remember watching his first career win right there. And I don't know, the expectations were so low. It was when he started winning, and when he started running well, it was such a surprise, and everyone was like, there he is, he's actually doing well. So 2017, he really set the bar for himself, scoring 4 wins there, but then unfortunately, he fell flat on his face in the playoffs. Well, which really wasn't his fault. It was more of his Chip Ganassi's fault there, blown engines and all. Then you come to 2018, and so far, most of the 2019 season. So, he's left all those low expectations on the table, and now everyone's expecting him to do big things now that he's won some races here and there. And unfortunately, he hasn't lived up to his hype. And Kurt Busch, for the most part of the season, has completely outperformed him in a ride that was terrible. It was just awful last year with Jamie McMurray. So I'd say Kyle Larson's the most overrated right now, just based on that. But that can change really quickly. Most underrated, I'd say the most underrated right now is Chris Buescher. Chris Buescher is a guy who was a former Xfinity Series champion with Jack Roush in 2015. But then, unfortunately, he had to sign with Front Row Motorsports, and so basically he had to go from a riches ride to a rags ride in the Cup Series. He ends up winning a race, I know, but it was just because of the rain there, and he did the most with that equipment, and then he moved over to JTG Daughtry Racing, and he runs where his equipment allows him, but I feel like Jack Roush needs to give him a second chance, and also just give him his first opportunity to drive for him in the Cup Series to show what he's really all about.
Yeah, I mean, certainly I think with Buescher, he's somebody who, in my opinion, this year has punched above his weight at some points, namely at Atlanta and Richmond, considering the car he has. I mean,
Richmond, he was running inside the top 5, and there was, it wasn't because of strategy. He was legitimately just staying up there with the leader. That was pretty impressive.
Yeah, he had an issue towards the end of a race, I believe a tire problem, which put him a couple laps down.
Yeah, he always runs good at Bristol as well. So I feel like if we get him in Roush equipment, that's a track where he could possibly get his second career win at, maybe a few more. So hopefully we'll have to wait and see what happens there.
Yeah, I mean, also that team seems to, that is JTG Daughtry, seems to be a team that can do pretty well on the restrictor plate tracks, or, well, I know there's no longer restrictor plates, but namely Daytona and Talladega. And, I mean, who knows if he can basically keep himself out of a wreck. You never know what can happen.
Yeah, we'll see. Maybe, this July at Daytona, for the final July Daytona race, in the foreseeable future, he can maybe inch out a playoff spot there. He's done it before. Well, that was just mostly because of circumstance and a lot of luck, but hopefully he can get the job done.
I think it's a possibility. Now, you were mentioning as for overrated drivers that when you asked it on Twitter, some people said Erik Jones, and I have to admit he might be somebody that I'd have to agree with. I mean, he's currently in the middle of his third full season in the Cup Series, and so far his only win has been at Daytona in a Gibbs car, no less, compared to how his teammates did last year. I mean, Busch made it to the Final Four, and then meanwhile Hamlin was consistent, although he didn't win a race last year. And then this year,
go ahead, sorry.
And I was just gonna say, and then you come to 2019. So far, each of his 3 teammates have won races. I mean, Busch is leading the standings. Meanwhile, Jones is fighting just to stay in the playoffs.
Well, yeah, I feel like, the only reason he's listed as overrated, as you just mentioned, it's just by comparison. You see, guys like Kyle Busch, Truex, and Hamlin, who are future Hall of Famers, by the way. They're obviously, hitting their marks, and Erik Jones is sort of just sitting there. I feel like Joe Gibbs has a lot of faith in him, that he can eventually develop into a superstar in the near future. I mean, we saw it, in the lower series. He was, kicking ass there, Cup champion, and should have been Xfinity champion, but you have Colwitt to thank for that, and also the playoff system to thank for that as well. But for the most part, I feel like he still has a very bright future, and it doesn't really help, nonetheless, that Christopher Bell's just dominating in Xfinity and fans, and even Bell himself. Everyone's just they're just waiting for him to move up in the Cup Series, and it seems like Erik Jones is the odd man out. But then you've heard rumors that he's in extension talks right now, so I don't really know about all that with Bell going over to Gibbs in the near future. But I don't know. I feel like Erik Jones, although he doesn't win, he's very consistent. So just give him some time.
Yeah, I mean, certainly he can still turn things around for this season, and I don't think it's I do not think it's unrealistic that he could win races. this year.
Right. Yeah, I mean, even at Texas, I think he ran pretty well. He was he was battling for the lead there, and he had spun out earlier in stage 1, and he was battling for the wins there. I think he finished in the top 10 at Texas, didn't he? Or was it a top 5? I think it was a top 5, maybe. He was still up there.
I believe it was the top 5. If you could change just one thing about NASCAR, what would it be?
Oh, right now, it's a bit of a toss-up between the current aero package and the playoff system. I'm going to go with the playoff system just because I've been consistent on that. I don't think playoffs should be in motorsports. And the funny thing is, I've never seen a NASCAR season, in the Cup Series at least, that didn't have playoffs, because I started watching in 2004 with the original 10 driver chase. So I'd say a playoff I would definitely change. I would just go back to like a 2A consistent point system. Now, I know some of the naysayers with that will say, well, if we go back to a current playoff system, not every championship's going to be exciting. And I would reply back, well, who says every championship has to be exciting? That's not really the point. The point of battling for a championship is to see who is the best in the world, in the world of the NASCAR Cup Series, that is. So, I mean, if a guy wins by like 400 points or 5 points, it really makes no difference to me, because that guy deserves to win the championship. I mean, you don't see this kind of playoff system in any other major motorsport. Sorry, can't talk. In any other major motorsport. So that's one I would definitely change.
Yeah, I mean, certainly my thought has been generally that every season in a racing series doesn't necessarily need to have multiple people going for the championship at the end of the year. I mean, sometimes you might get a driver who just runs away with it, and if they end up winning it, I'd say good on them.
Yeah, I mean, if every season was full of exciting championship runs, then seasons like 1992 and 2011, like they're not as special. 92 is it's very special because technically you had 6 drivers going for the championship that day at Atlanta, but really there was only like 3 real key players there. And then, you had Allison, Reckon, and stuff, and then you had Elliott and Kawicki going for it there, and then Kawicki wins the championship, really on strategy. And he's forever immortalized there. And then 2011, Tony Stewart and Carl Edwards duking it out in the final 30-something laps, and Stewart ends up winning the title on a tiebreaker, most wins. And now that we have this playoff system, I don't know, I feel like seasons 2014 through 2018 have kind of watered those seasons down by comparison, because it's like now, you only have 4 guys every year that are guaranteed to fight for the championship, even though some of them really didn't do much all season. I feel like the champions, they have to be the most deserving guy, in the field. So sometimes you'll have guys like Tyler Reddick, who has he's run pretty well this season so far. I just want to add. But last year, he was really nowhere to be found for most of that season, and then he shows up for the final 4 to 3 races, and voila, he's a champion, And I feel like in some fans' minds, the NASCAR championship in each of the 3 series, it's overrated in some fans' minds.
Yeah, I mean, I think another, in my opinion, black mark on the current playoff format was when you had Kyle Busch in 2015 miss the first about third of the year because he was injured in the crash at Daytona, come back and win the championship, even though he would have been about 20th or so in points had there just been a straight points format with no playoffs.
I don't people take it out on Kyle Busch for that. It's not Kyle Busch's fault that he came back and won all of these races and won the championship. It's NASCAR's fault for that. It's my whoever allowed that to happen. I mean, Kyle Busch, what he did that year, I'd say that's one of the, that has to be one of the greatest performances ever. Basically it's shown, okay, well, the only way for you to make the playoffs after this injury is you have to win, and then you have to get inside the top 30 in points. And, I mean, granted, he missed, how many races did he miss to begin the season again?
I believe he missed the first 11 races. I know the All-Star race was the first race he came back, which would mean that Charlotte the following weekend would have been his first points race back.
Right, so he missed, the first 11 races there. And, they give him all these requirements, and then he fulfills them. He's in the championship hunt, and he goes out, the final race of 2015 and wins the race and the championship. All of that coming off a major leg injury. That's pretty impressive. But because of that injury, which was not his fault, fans, though, they automatically discredit him just for that. And I just think that's very unfair because he didn't make the rules, NASCAR did. So you have to blame NASCAR, not Kyle Busch.
Yeah, I agree that I wasn't trying to say that it was his fault. I mean, he made the best out of the existing system, and it worked very well to his benefit. Do you have any stories of meeting drivers or personalities from racing?
Yeah, recently, I've had some recent run-ins with some drivers. I'm currently interning at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. The first ever second Cup Series day last fall. That was the first ever race I worked at. And I saw a ton of drivers out there. It was a four race weekend with K&N trucks, Xfinity, and the Cup Series being the main event, of course. Pretty much the whole weekend was just star power. You saw every driver imaginable out there. They're walking, beside you. You're helping work the press conferences there, and they're right in front of you. I'd say probably the funniest story so far was it's hard to pick. I don't know. Probably the funniest story so far was running into Noah Gregson and Riley Hurts. We're going back up top because they were there to watch the Cayman Dirt Race, a race in which Sheldon Creed won and Haley Deegan finished second. And it was the first dirt race in the Cayman West Series history since 1979 at some old since the Miles track out in California. And I was walking in and stuff and into the elevator, and they're right there. I didn't realize these guys they're very short. All these guys are just so short. Gregson and Hurts are about the same height. But I don't know. I want to say 5'7", 5'8". I'm around 6 foot, but I don't know. Just I got to chat with them, and they both went to Gorman High School too. Which, if you're from here, you'll know. Everyone hates Gorman out here. It's one of those rich schools. And, they were talking about that and stuff, and then I was just you guys are out there? And they started laughing and stuff yeah. Well, that's probably the funniest so far, but hopefully, as the years go on, I'll have more stories like that, or even better than that in the future.
Yeah, in my time in racing, I've never met anybody from that's NASCAR related. I've never actually been to a NASCAR race. However, I've been to several IndyCar races and have met more than a few drivers, both past and present, over the years. I know there was a streak in 2014. I went to the garage area after the 500 and saw Al Unser Sr. there and met and talked to him for a few minutes, and then literally the following year, in basically the same exact spot, was Mario Andretti, and basically saw him. He signed my ticket, as did Unser the year before, and talked with him for a few minutes.
Oh, that's pretty cool. Yeah, I've never been to a full IndyCar race. The reason I say full is because back in 2004, the first ever race I ever attended was the Las Vegas 350, a Truck Series race that Shane Neal won. Yeah, I still remember him from his helmet up there and the stands and everything, and him just going crazy. And then after, like right after that race, it was the NASCAR race, and I thought it was IndyCar. Like I was younger, so I thought it was all the same thing. And I watched about 20, 25 laps of that, and then I was just bored. And I was just begging Mom, like, hey, can we go? And then we laughed and all that. So I definitely have to go see an IndyCar race pretty soon. Obviously, they're not going to race out in Vegas ever again for obvious reasons. From the past, from history and all that stuff, as some of you guys know. But I would definitely like to see one in person, especially the Indianapolis 500. That's one I would love to go to.
Okay. I doubt that IndyCar would race at Las Vegas Motor Speedway anytime soon. I mean, it's probably never again, like you just said. But I mean, who knows? Maybe they'd go to have a street circuit race around there, like the Champ Car did back in 2007. You never know.
Oh yeah. I remember. I think back in history, F1, back in the '80s, F1, even the street circuit course, like back in the late '70s, early '80s. I don't know. Maybe IndyCar should consider that. Who knows? What IndyCar's biggest tradition during Vegas. On the Vegas street course or whatever. I don't know. If it would necessarily have the biggest turnout, but it would definitely be to try for sure.
Yeah, I think if it was promoted right and in the right location, it could do well. Also, the Las Vegas Formula One race you're referring to, the Caesar's Palace Grand Prix.
That one.
Yeah, they had it as a Formula One race first in 1981 and 1982. Then it became a IndyCar race for the following 2 years, and that was the end of the event.
Oh, okay. Yeah, let's we have that, man. Definitely love to go see that.
Yep. Okay. Have you ever considered working in the racing industry?
Yeah, I definitely considered it, the current internship at the Speedway and all that. I don't know in what capacity though yet. Like, I don't know what I want to do in motorsports yet. I'm currently, interning for PR, and, right now I'm currently going to school for communications, for journalism, to be exact. I don't know, maybe I'd definitely like to be a motorsports reporter, that sort of thing. Which is funny, like, I talked with some other drivers and stuff who they know of my channel, and they said they've considered me already to be media, which I guess technically we are, but it's not really official yet. You know what I'm saying? It's not really official. I definitely like to get my my journalism degree, and definitely work in the field and make some serious money with that. I mean, right now I'm not really making a lot off of YouTube. It's not really necessarily a way to make a living and stuff. But I would definitely like to take my journalism degree and definitely work in the motorsports journalism there. Yeah, pretty common.
Yeah, I mean, I've considered working in racing myself in the future. At the moment, I'm trying to get a degree in marketing, and I think I could try to maybe do something more in with regards to promotion of events.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so that's a good one. Yeah, marketing for sure. I think that is basically PR too. That's what I've learned so far. Just stuff what it takes to organize events at the Speedway, because a lot of people think, just when NASCAR's there, then as soon as they leave, that's it. People work there 24/7, 365 days a year out there. Whether it's organizing events such as EDC, the little electric, the local electric musical concert out there, which is pretty big, or local bull ring races, which I've streamed sometimes. It's a lot of work to get those events together. And definitely learning how to do that. So I'm still on the ropes, whether I want to be doing that for the rest of my life or I want to try and work in the journalism field. So we'll see.
Yeah, well, good luck. Darian, I want to thank you for taking time out of your day to do this, and I wish you luck with both with your channel and also if you ever get into the racing business.
Oh yeah, no problem, man. And I guess I just want to end your interview with this little snippet here. Never beef, like I guess so-called beef we have. I guess it's squashed or whatever. You know, I just wanted to let your subscribers and yourself know that stuff I say, but it's never personal. It's really more so for entertainment. So anything I said, take it with a grain of salt. This is YouTube. It's just trying to be funny, just trying to be entertaining, that sort of thing. And also just want to let yourself know, like, hey, it's okay to touch one another, because I know a few people who come to me who aren't something new were like, yeah, I've never said something to Ryan Holman, like, that sort of thing. And I have to reply like, you can, like, nothing's happening, like, nothing dangerous going on there, like, nothing serious. So yeah, so, like, everything's fine. It's on the past, and I can't wait to collab on a NASCAR Bus Series video with you guys. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah, I look forward to it, and once again, thanks for doing this.
Yeah, no problem, man.
You too.